Hi everyone, my name is Sharon of River Road Knits, and here in this video we're going to talk about my new pattern, Bageri. First off, I need to apologize for the number of non-English words that I have set myself up to say in this video. I tried to do my research on pronunciation, so you can correct me if I get something wrong. But this pattern is named Bageri or Bagere or Bageri, if you're pronouncing it phonetically. This is the word bakery in Danish, and it is inspired by the Heart Bakery in Copenhagen, where my husband and I went last summer. I had this delicious cardamom croissant. You can look it up and see what I'm talking about. It was amazing. I had two of them within 24 hours, and the colorwork motif on this is inspired by the layers of laminated dough that are just kind of arranged in this nice little pastry. It was delicious. That was the inspiration behind this colorwork pattern. Other people have said that they see it's a sunflower, or they say it's like pasta, or they say it's like bacon. So I'm not offended. Whatever you think that this motif reminds you of, it was originally designed after this pastry, but you can, whatever your mind associates, that's a-okay with me. So this sweater I designed in collaboration with Red Stag Fiber. If you remember last year, I put out the pattern Locked In using their Yorkshire DK base. This pattern is made with the newly released Yorkshire fingering base. It is the same blend, which is 75% Polworth, 25% Mossam. This is a non-superwash wool, and this is just now same base, just in fingering. It's a really nice base. I've got a skein here. It is pretty fine for a fingering weight. It is 492 yards per 100 grams. So you might think that that's going to end up as a really, really light fingering, but this pattern is written at a 24 stitch gauge, which I got with size 5 needles. So it really works up to really similar to just any other fingering weight yarn. It blooms a lot, it fluffs up a lot when you're blocking it. So it's a really unique base. It's really nice to work with. And the fabric ends up being really, really nice. And even though it is a non-superwash wool, it feels really nice to wear next to my skin. It kind of has the sturdiness to it that I really enjoy. So I recommend giving it a try. Again, this pattern was made specifically for this base. It is part of the launch, part of the knit along that's going to go along with the launch of this base. So I highly recommend you check it out. I'm going to put links in the description so you can check out this base. As you might have seen in my other trailer videos, we're going to talk about this sweater, the details of construction, the techniques you need to know, modifications you can make, and recommendations for the yarn. Let's start first by talking about the modifications you can make to the pattern. Normally I leave that for the end, but since I am very obviously wearing two pretty different versions of this, I wanted to give you an idea of the range of modifications you can make to this pattern so you can start thinking about what option would be good for you. So this is the pattern as written. It's written as long sleeved. This is really full length. You can see in the modeled photos that this comes really to the fullest part of my hips. It really sits quite long below the waist. And it is obviously knit in 3 colors. And this is not a traditional Fair Isle where you only use 2 colors on every row. There are several rounds in this colorwork chart where you are using all 3 colors. So that is a little bit different of a technique, maybe for some people who have done colorwork before, but not 3 colors. It's not any different in that you're still just knitting with 1 color at a time and carrying your floats, but you do have an extra length of yarn to manage. I put recommendations in the pattern. Really the thing that is really important to keep in mind when working in 3 colors is to keep your floats loose. So manage good or practice good colorwork tension. Make sure that you are managing your floats, keeping them nice and loose. I've also linked in the pattern a tutorial for a ladder back jacquard. That is a technique that some knitters use to manage long floats. So that can help with these 3 colors. So this is as written, long sleeved, full length, 3 color yoke. Obviously, I am wearing a slightly different version. I wanted to make this version to show how you could do this with only 2 colors. So obviously, this contrast color to the brown in this sample is just replaced by the main color in this one. So you're only ever working with 2 colors. It's a little bit more straightforward, a little closer to what you might be used to with color work. I have also made this quite a bit more cropped. This hits at my natural waistline, and I have made it short sleeve. So this pattern is coming out in the spring. So if you are excited to wear this as soon as possible, you might consider making the short sleeve version. Obviously, you can make a 3 color short sleeve version. You can make a 2 color long sleeve version. You can mix and match these options. But I wanted to give 2 samples of really how this same pattern could be made 2 different ways. Both of the versions of this pattern have the same sizing. So this is 12 total sizes running from 34 3/4 inches finished bust measurement to 72 3/4 inches. That is 88.5 centimeters to 185 centimeters. I am wearing mine. This is a size 3, and this has about 5.5 inches of ease on both of these samples. So a little bit oversized. This one, this long sleeve version actually has a slightly deeper yoke. You can see in the modeled photos, it fits a little bit like a drop yoke, where the sleeve split actually starts midway down the bicep. This one starts closer to the underarm. But the sizing, finished bust sizing, is the same for all of them. There's, as I said, 12 different sizes. I also have a version that I call the curvy version. This has been on a couple of my patterns before. And this basically, all it does is really distribute the stitches after the sleeve split so that you have more fabric in the front of the bust than the back of the bust. So that might be important for you if you find that color work sweaters, traditionally they might have too much fabric between the shoulder blades for you, or it stretches too much across the front. So you may be interested in the curvy option if you're going for something with less ease. You want a little closer fitting, but you also need to accommodate a larger bust measurement in the front. So I recommend you give that a look in the pattern. That modification is written in as an option for you to swap out pretty easily. Let's also talk about the yarn for this pattern. As I said, this was designed in collaboration with Red Stag Fiber. So obviously I'm going to recommend their Yorkshire fingering as a really great option for this sweater. It's gonna show off the really nice stitch definitions, the colors have really nice contrast with each other. This sample was made in the colorways Natural for the main color. Contrast color 1, which is kind of this dark grayish navy blue, is called Welsh Slate. And the contrast color 2, this brown, is called Antique Leather. Now in this sample, the main color is called Cobblestone, and the contrast color, here's my other non-English word, is Purpy. That's the Gaelic word for purple, as far as I can tell. So if you look it up, just look for the purple one on the website and you'll find it. So these are the colors that I chose for these samples. All of Red Stag Fiber's colorways have really nice contrast. They play really nicely together. Obviously, I'm going to recommend their colors and their yarn for sure. If you were to buy a different yarn for this or look from stash, really simple recommendations I would make. Just make sure that you've got good contrast between your colors, and it would be good to have a yarn that has good stitch definition. In terms of yardage, the yardage that you're going to require is going to be really dependent on which of these versions that you go with, what modifications that you make. But in general, your main color, you're going to need about 3 to 5 skeins. That's for the long sleeve version. If you were going to make the short sleeve version, and especially if you were to crop it some, you might be able to drop a full skein off of that estimate. I give some recommendations on the pattern page for a little bit of math so you can figure out maybe where your what your yardage is going to require based on the modifications that you may or may not make. The contrast colors are pretty easy. You'll need one skein of each. So you can get away with one skein of contrast color 1, contrast color 2, and then the main color is just going to need again 3 to 5 skeins. That's based on the red stag yardage. So you may have to do your own math with the yardage that I've provided if you're going to use a different base that maybe has a different yardage per 100 grams. Construction and techniques are really pretty simple on this garment. It is a top-down seamless circular yoke, which means that you're going to start at the neck. You will work short rows after the ribbing in order to raise the back neck and give you a better fit around the shoulders. And then as you work the chart, increases occur within the chart. So you will increase out to the sleeve split. Sleeve stitches are put on hold, casting on the underarms, knitting the rest of the body, and then picking up the sleeves and continuing the sleeves with decreases to keep this sleeve a little bit more fitted. So techniques really straightforward. The only complicated one would be, again, working with 3 colors in the 3-color charted version. Again, I've linked that ladder back jacquard method, which may help you to manage your tension on that 3rd color. I think that's all that I plan to cover on this video. I'm going to put in the description box below, I'll put links to where you can buy this pattern on Etsy and on Ravelry. I'm also going to put links to Red Stag's yarn so that you can check out not only their Yorkshire fingering base, but also the other bases that they have, the other yarns that they have. As I said, they are going to be running a knit along using this pattern and using the Yorkshire fingering yarn. So if you're interested, check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun to work on this pattern together. Thank you all for watching. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you enjoy this new pattern. Happy knitting!